Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Hassan Azam. In this video, I'm going to talking about mortgage, how it works in Dubai, particularly UAE real estate. So I have with me Varun De Silva from London Tree Mortgage Consultancy. So he is going to make us understand about the rules for residents, non-residents, local. And recently there was a big development, big announcement by Imar Dubai Holding and other developers as well. So over to Mr. Varun. Thank you for joining us, and
Yes,
please talk about the complete procedure for mortgage in Dubai.
sure. Thank you, Hassan. Here now, when it comes to a mortgage in Dubai, what people think is that as a non-resident or as a resident, the process might be complicated, whether it is worth putting the efforts for the mortgage. But honestly, since we are working in the mortgage company since such a long time, the process is very simple, be it for resident clients and also for non-residents. So speaking about the eligibility criteria, which is the basic thing. So a person who is having a salary as low as 10,000 dirhams in UAE, who's working in UAE, can also get a mortgage.
Perfect.
Now, this is for, I would say ready properties,
Okay.
wherein the property is already ready, handed over, everything is ready.
Minimal salary should
Minimum
be
salary would be 10,000
10,000.
dirhams. And the higher the salary, the better is the eligibility of the client. Now, if you're talking about how much is the loan that the client can get as a resident in UAE, so a person can get up to 80% of the property value as mortgage. So with just 20% of the down payment, the client can own the property.
On ready property.
Yes, on ready properties. So it is similar for a person who has their own business also. So for business owners, of course, the banks will look at their financials of the company. In
Profile.
certain cases, even if the client does not have a very strong company accounts, they can also get a mortgage. Of course, it would not be 80% of the property value, but they can get as much as possible, like 50%, 60%, and so on, depending on the profile.
So what about the interest rate on the ready property?
So interest rate for ready properties for a salaried person, it starts from 3.75%.
Okay.
And for business owners, the starting rate is 4.1%. So which of course, when you compare it with the rentals, the client is still making enough money to pay off the EMIs plus get some additional income.
What about the non-residents, like people who are not the like Emirates ID holder? So what is the criteria for getting a secondary property? I mean ready property.
Yes. So for non-resident clients, let's say who does not have any income within UAE, in that case, the clients can still get a mortgage. They will not get up to 80% at the moment. They can get up to 75% also, depending on the profile of the client. And the eligibility criteria is very simple. The basic criteria that most of the banks look for is that how much balance the client has been maintaining in his personal account in the home country.
For how many months? Last how many months?
Banks will look at for the last 6 months.
Perfect.
So let's say if a person is maintaining an amount which is equivalent to 40,000 dirhams.
$10,000, $11,000.
Yes, that's correct. With some banks, it is even 25,000 dirhams, which is much lower. So they can still qualify for the mortgage for a ready property here in Dubai. And as you mentioned that there are some recent changes with the mortgages.
And do tell us about the locals as well. How much can they get, and how much loan like the non-residents can get on ready property?
Okay, fair enough. So for locals, if we are talking about locals for a ready property, they can get up to 85% of the property value. So for them, the down payment required is much lower.
Okay.
And for non-resident clients, they would get up to 65% on an average, I would say.
And what about the interest rate for international clients?
Yes. So the interest rate for the international clients, it starts from 4.5%.
Okay.
And it goes up depending on the profile. So for them, the down payment required is much lower.
Okay.
And for non-resident clients, they would get up to 65% on an average, I would say.
And what about the interest rate for international clients?
Yes. So the interest rate for the international clients, it starts from 4.5%.
Okay.
And it goes up depending on the profile of the client.
Perfect. So coming back to off-plan, so recently there were a few developments, but before that, tell us the criteria of off-plan buyers, residents, non-residents.
Okay, all right. So the criteria is the same, be it for a resident or a non-resident in terms of which property he is buying.
Okay.
So first of all, this off-plan mortgage, it is not for all the developers. At the moment, there are 10 to 12 listed developers by the banks. So just to name a few, there is Imar, there is Dubai Holdings. Then apart from that, there are some private developers also like Damac, Ellington, Benghati, Shobha, Omniat.
These are the big reputable developers in Dubai.
Yes.
Perfect.
So for these developers, there are basically two criteria. So first thing is that the payment has to be done 50% by the client. The remaining 50% he can get a mortgage. So initially, the previous rule was that the client had to wait until the handover
Yes.
before he qualifies for the mortgage.
Perfect.
Once the client pays 50%, and there is a certain percentage of construction that should be completed. So for developers like Emaar and Dubai Holdings, the construction should be bare minimum of 30% completed.
This is the recent change.
Yes, this is the recent change. So then the client can, of course, qualify for the mortgage.
Perfect.
But for some other developers, the construction has to be 40%, 50%, and so on.
This is the exception for Emaar and Dubai Holding, which are
Yes.
backed by government.
Yes, that's correct.
So, and what is the criteria? Like, criteria is the same.
The criteria is different for a ready property and an off-plan property in terms of qualification. So the salary of the client, I would suggest if it is more than 15,000 dirhams, preferably about 25,000 dirhams, that gives an added advantage, to work with the banks. So that is one major criteria for the salaried clients. For business owners also, they should have their company for more than 3 years in Dubai. If they are residents, they should have good audited financials and all of those details. For non-residents can also get an off-plan mortgage. The criteria for a non-resident is slightly different. So let's say a person is salaried. So the company that he is working for has to be one of the Fortune 500 companies.
Fortune 500 company.
Yes.
Okay.
And the
Minimum salary.
Yes, the minimum salary should be more than 10,000 US dollars.
Perfect. Around 40,000 dirham. Like
Yes.
36, 37,000
Yes,
dirham.
37,000.
So what if someone is not employed, he's an entrepreneur, or he has his own business? So what is the criteria for them, like international people?
So for non-residents, if they want to qualify for an off-plan mortgage, the criteria should be that the company should be more than 3 years old,
Okay.
and their revenue of the business for the last 12 months, it has to be more than 15 million US dollars.
Which is tentatively around 50 million dirhams.
Yes, that's correct.
So means they are eligible, but through this regulation.
Yes. So it is, I would say more like controlled at the moment, since it is a new launch by the banks and by the government. So they want to keep it controlled at the moment. They just want to see how things turn out to be. And of course, as and when time progresses, more banks will be moving into the off-plan mortgage also. In fact, initially there were just 2 banks, but at the moment there are 3 to 4 banks which are providing off-plan mortgage, starting with rates for resident clients as low as 3.49%.
Perfect. Is there any age restriction in mortgage for residents or non-residents, or it goes across the board?
Yes, so for non-residents, the maximum age criteria is up to the age of 65.
65.
The maximum mortgage term is 25 years. So let's say if a person is below 40, they can get for the maximum term of 25 years. But someone, let's say, is already 50 years old, so they can get it only up to the age of 65. That is for 15 years. So that is for non-residents. For residents, salaried person, their age criteria is 65. But of course, some banks are flexible to lend it up to 70 years also, 75 years also, if required, depending on the profile of the client. And for business owners, it is up to the age of 70.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Varun. So this was Varun from Lending Tree. He is in the market for quite a long. So if you are looking for something in Dubai in terms of primary property or secondary property like ready or off plan, and you are interested to get mortgage, so Mr. Varun can assist us in this regard. So thank you for watching video. If you're interested, you can reach out to me on the given number.